Indianapolis Colts Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen must be better down the stretch if this team wants to win the division. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com. I'm joined as always by Jake Arthur, the boots on the ground over at Round Table Sports. Welcome to Locked On Colts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your first bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Hello, everyone. We are back talking all about Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen, this Colts defense, all your favorite topics from this past game and from the last couple of weeks as well. Jake's done a great job the last few days of breaking down all of your guys' Q&As, but now we're going to go into it in a little bit more detail when it comes to Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen, and obviously how this Colts defense looks going the rest of the way. But Jake, let's talk about Daniel Jones because again, if this was like a 1 week issue on the road against the Chiefs, it's one thing that we could like kind of push aside, but this has been a trending thing for the past month. I will say they've been on the road for the entire month, so maybe that's a part of it here. But it's been a 3-game stretch now for Jones where we've seen a lot of issues regress. We've seen his play against pressure come back down to earth quite a bit. His turnover rate or turnover worthy rate has climbed up to around 4%. He's got a lot of turnover-worthy plays. His pressure-to-sack ratio is now creeping up to around 30%, when early in the year he was among the league leaders at only 4%. So we are seeing a lot of metrics come back down to earth for Daniel Jones. What are your overall thoughts on him going forward and also your thoughts after watching this past game against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, obviously the Steelers and Falcons performances were really concerning. 12 sacks, a lot of those which we would kind of put on his shoulders, and then of course 7 turnovers as well. So we got improvements against the Chiefs, no sacks, although some of that's just kind of semantics. Like there were some close ones there. No turnovers. There weren't a lot of egregious plays. There was that one where both Chiefs defenders just collided, and that would have been an interception under normal circumstances. But overall, I thought what they did with Jones against the Chiefs through the first 3 quarters, what I saw from him, super encouraged, especially when I went back and watched. Obviously, in the heat of the moment, seeing the meltdown in the fourth quarter and overtime, everything, it's, kind of the world is on fire. But when I rewatched, I actually thought he was really good through those first 3 quarters. And I thought, great. You look at this, and it's like a really good bounce back from how bad it was against the Falcons and Steelers. But then the fourth quarter came. I think we're seeing that as extra protection gets spread out and it's not there, and it's a 5-man protection, and you're sending extra pressure at Jones, he's just not responding well to it. I think the Colts operated really well out of tight, bigger packages. You know what I mean? The 12 personnel and everything. I thought they both ran it and passed really well out of that. And I thought Jones looked more comfortable, had more time to operate. But yeah, it was in the fourth quarter when the Colts were going pass, maybe spreading it out a little bit. And then Steve Spagnuolo smelled some blood in the water and understood the assignment, what to do. Jones it felt like he panicked a bit. His accuracy definitely dipped. And, he got rid of the ball quickly, but it just wasn't where it needed to be. So I thought there were some missed opportunities in the third quarter that really could have changed the tide of the game. And they weren't really necessarily Daniel Jones issues. But the Colts get the 2 field goals in the third quarter. It becomes, it becomes 20-9, their 11-point lead going into the fourth. But there was the first field goal was 3rd and 4 in the red zone, and Jones threw it outside when Josh Downs went inside. Just not on the same page on that one. If that ball's completed, it's a first down. And then you never know, they may go on to get a field or a touchdown out of it. And then the final drive of the third quarter, he hits Alec Pierce in the hands in the end zone. And then on the next play, it's the Michael Pittman Jr. offensive pass interference. They get another field goal. So there's just some missed opportunities. If that's 28-9 going into the fourth quarter, that looks a whole lot different. And I don't know that the Chiefs come back from that. So I thought the margin of this game being completely handled by the Colts versus what actually happened, and them going with whatever plan of attack that was, and Jones not responding well to it, it was really thin, and it could have teetered either way there. But overall, those first three quarters, I thought it was a great response from what we'd seen over the last couple games. But then the fourth quarter, you have to be discouraged because of what you had seen earlier in the month.
Yeah, and I think the frustrating aspect of it is we saw how he played against the Denver Broncos, right? He was hanging in there under pressure. The Broncos had a very, very blitz-heavy approach. Heck, even in week one, the Miami Dolphins had a very, very blitz-heavy approach, and he responded exceptionally well in those two games. He hung in there, delivered under pressure. I think PFF had him as one of the highest-graded quarterbacks in the league under pressure throughout those first 8 weeks of the season, including those first two games against the Broncos and the Dolphins. It's just regressed back down to earth heavily the last couple of weeks. And yeah, part of it is the Colts pass protection for sure, right? But when you have 5 or 6 guys in blocking, right? So 5, 6, maybe even have 7 in at times, and the defense is bringing 7 or 8 guys. Quarterback has to account for some of that. Or even if you have the numbers back there, quarterback has to know to get the ball out high and get the ball out quick. Especially when we're talking 3rd and 4 late in the game. There was a couple 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s in this game. It wasn't necessarily all these 3rd and 10s. They're bringing the heat, get the ball out, hang in there. There were some that was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. You just got to set your feet and get it to your first target. And you're going to take a hit. Every quarterback takes a hit in that situation. But you have to deliver those balls like he did against the Denver Broncos. Go back to that Broncos game earlier in the season when they were bringing they were bringing so much heat constantly. And he was hanging in there all game long. But I don't know if it's just the heat of the moment, the last couple of weeks, whatever it's been. There is a lot of hesitancy in terms of when he sees those blitzes coming in. Maybe because of the sacks he took against the Falcons and against the Steelers. The strip sacks against the Steelers in particular might be a big part of this, where it's kind of in the back of his head because we saw here against the Chiefs, especially in that fourth quarter when Shane Steichen was like, here, Daniel, go win us this football game. Get us a couple first downs through the air. He just wasn't hanging in the pocket. The one that keeps coming back to my mind was that 3rd and 4 where he threw that dirt ball to Michael Pittman Jr. Mm-hmm. There's no excuse for that play as a quarterback. You're going to take a hit. You are 100% going to take a hit there. They are bringing 7 guys. You're going a 6-man protection. You're going to take the hit. You have to stand in there and deliver it. You just have to. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. You're going to take the hit regardless. And to throw it off his back foot like he did, rushing it and throwing it in the ground, and then leading to that punt there, that's part of how you lose a football game. So, I don't think his overall play has been horrendous these last 3 games. The Steelers game, there were a lot of turnovers, but the Falcons game, I thought he responded well late in that game to eke out that win. I thought there were some nice throws throughout that game, even though he took a couple sacks that he should have taken. And I think for most of the Chiefs game, he played some good football, but the difference between a game manager and a legit quarterback you can win with is how you respond in the big moments whenever everything's on your shoulder. And we saw early in the season where, we were saying Jones can be this great game manager for the Colts. He can do these really good things for the Colts. The difference is he's been doing these things on 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 11 and converting first downs, which has made him such a good quarterback, an MVP candidate even the first 8 weeks of the season. But we have seen that come back down to earth these last couple of weeks in terms of 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 9. He's not making those plays that he needs to make and standing in there and delivering. And these defensive coordinators are coming after him. So, I do think part of this is being on the road throughout all these games. The Colts are clearly a much different team at home than on the road. All 3 of their losses have come on the road this season. All their wins, they're scoring almost 35 points a game at home this season. They've been a much better team at home, so maybe that's all it is. But there definitely needs to be some kind of course correction here. We talked about during the bye week, but it reared its ugly head there in that fourth quarter, and it's not sustainable if you want to win this division with the schedule they have remaining.
Yeah, and we obviously have to address, the fibula thing real quick. I didn't think it it drastically altered him all that much. Like, I thought he had enough mobility to, like, he got a couple first downs with his legs that he picked up. But we obviously noticed that the Colts didn't sneak it at all on like third and short. They didn't go for any fourth downs or anything. I'm curious if that plays into it at all. And we could kind of go into that a little more in our next segment, the Shane Steichen portion of it. But when I rewatched, I actually didn't think he was as hampered by the injury as initially kind of made out to be. But I mean, we'll see. It's something that they appear they'll have to kind of manage throughout the season.
Yeah. And coming up, there's another big part of this that we're going to talk about, which is Shane Steichen. He's been getting a lot of the blame here in Indy these past couple of days. I want to push back on some of the narratives while also kind of reaffirming a few of them as well.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it, because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right. Welcome back, everydayers. We are talking Daniel Jones. We are talking Shane Steichen. But first, thank you guys for making Locked On Colts your first listen of the day, and the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Again, in the galaxy, we're declaring it. We're planting our flag in the entire solar system. Zach knows exactly what we're talking about. So yeah, let's go ahead. We discussed Daniel Jones, how much of the blame he should maybe shoulder for what happened in Kansas City, but also just the really clunky play that we've seen over the last month from the Colts offense. But now we're going to shift over to Shane Steichen. It's the man pulling the strings, the mastermind behind this all. There's a relationship, Zach, between player execution and what's actually being called. And sometimes when things aren't being executed well, it makes the play calling look bad as well. So, like, how do you delineate this entire thing? Like, when you unravel what we've seen against the Chiefs, but also, over the last month, what are you seeing from Steichen?
Yeah, so I think we should actually just run down the list of complaints I guess I've seen about Steichen post this game and the last couple games, and just kind of agree or disagree, I guess, with the overall narratives here, Jake. So the first one here, Shane Steichen should run the ball more, lean on the running game a lot more, 100% run or whatever. But seriously though, especially in that fourth quarter, they should have run the ball more. What do you think? Yes or no to that?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should have attempted to run more in the fourth quarter. Yes.
Yeah. I agree. I do think that was a legitimate complaint from this past game. Absolutely should have run the ball a little bit more. Now, do I think they should have been more rushes than passes or anything in this game? No, because the run game was getting crushed all game long. The boxes were full of 8-man boxes all game long. They were bringing down the safeties over the top. They were stacking the boxes. Sure, you want to still get some runs in there because it's Jonathan Taylor. He'll at least get you 3, 4, 5 yards because that's just what he does. But I think part of this too was Jones has control at the line of scrimmage to check out of plays, and any good quarterback can just check out of a play where there's 8 men in the box, and stuff like that. So I think that was part of it for sure. So yes, they should have run the ball a little bit more in the fourth quarter, but I do think a little bit of that is hindsight bias. If Jones completes a couple more passes, are we really complaining that much because they win the game doing that? I don't know. I think it's just kind of a weird thing to go too crazy on. I get it, but I don't think that's why they lost the game. Next one here, though, Jake. Shane Steichen was too conservative in this game, sitting on the lead, not going for it on fourth downs when he should have late in this game to really try to put it away. Do you think he should have been way more aggressive and should have gone for it on more of these fourth downs?
On more occasions, yes, just because it almost seemed like he was being like I felt like the entire thing with the Chiefs in that fourth quarter and the second half was just away from his identity. You know, he's an aggressive guy that's going to go more for the fourth downs, is going to be more conservative in his play calling when he's got a lead. So I did think it was a little odd. I probably would have gone for it a time or two more than he did.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm aggressive as all heck. I mean, gosh, I would never kick in most situations, but I kind of understand in this game the punt decisions in a lot of these. Like the Colts defense all game long was holding down the Chiefs offense. Like, yeah, the Chiefs were moving the ball, but they weren't getting points on the board. So there was some of it was trust in your defense, but the other part of it was a lack of trust in your offense, which you never want to say, but like we still have to be realistic, you know? Like, what about what the offense was doing in the fourth quarter says that we should go for any of these fourth downs?
Right.
Like the processes were horrendous. So yeah, you could sit here and say, hey, the 4th and 3 around midfield with like 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they should have gone for it. I know that's what Tony Romo was saying on the broadcast. Sure, it's easy to say when your job's not tied to it and stuff, but like, you know, the offense just threw a dirt ball on that 3rd and 3 right before that. And you know, Spag's going to bring 8 defenders again. Do you want to try to run that back?
I think the quarterback on the other side has a lot to do with it too. Like,
yeah.
Shane is very cognizant at all times of who he's giving the ball back to when he makes decisions.
Right. And then the other part of it is like the 4th and 2 in overtime after the Jonathan Taylor run stuff. People were saying go for that as well. Again, Spag was going to bring 8 guys. You want to trust Daniel Jones to make that play when he had just shown on 3 other third downs or 4th downs that they weren't making that play. So it's tough. It's tough to ever give the ball back to Pat Mahomes. And part of it is you want to go for it, but you also leave yourself susceptible to that old Patriots play where they went for it on the 4th down and gave it back to Peyton Manning back in the day. And they threw it to the fullback short of the sticks. And we all know how that play went down. So there's risk either way, obviously. I don't hate trusting the defense in those situations, even though, again, I'm aggressive as all heck and I would have maybe gone for him. But with the way your offense was playing, I don't know. You have to have faith to go for it on 4th down, not only in your defense, but also in your offense. And I don't think the faith was there in the offense and the guys executing what was called with what was going on.
Yeah. So Shane's thinking with the 4th down in overtime is basically, you know, if you go for it there on 4th down and don't get it, well, there's your field goal, your game-winning field goal, Patrick Mahomes. Like, take a couple plays to get there. What they want to do is punt and back them up as far as possible and make the Chiefs eat off enough clock, even if they, you know, eat off enough clock to give the Colts the ball back with another chance to score, basically. Yeah. It's a lot of hoping and praying in that scenario, but that's at least how he's explained where he's coming from there.
I mean, and they had the Chiefs in a 3rd and 8 situation. They just made a crazy throw to Rashee Rice down the field. Yeah. That was maybe a 5 to 10% chance of completion.
Yeah.
It just ended up like the bounces go against you sometimes. Last one though, Jake, and I think this is the one that's really pressing to talk about. It's not only Shane Steichen, but also his coaching staff. There's a fundamental issue with blitz pickup in this scheme that they need to figure out, because I totally agree with this takeaway. I think this is the biggest takeaway of the last couple of weeks. There has been a big issue with Shane Steichen's scheme and picking up blitzes since he arrived in Indy, even going back to Philly. A lot of it is on the quarterback to just get the ball out to scat protection, or if they do go heavy personnel protection, it's a lot of option routes that take a long time to develop. So a lot of times you're doing like these one read, like sit and wait for a guy to make his decision. And to me, I just don't know how sustainable that is. And we kind of seen it kind of fall back to earth these last couple of weeks. Like the one you mentioned in the red zone to Josh Downs, like they're running that option route, but you're facing a blitz. Your quarterback can't hang in there forever. So then when he makes that decision before Downs is out of his break, you can have miscommunications where the quarterback's throwing outside and the receiver's breaking inside. I love option routes, especially with Josh Downs, but a lot of these sacks have come from Jones sitting and waiting for Downs or another receiver to come out of these option routes, and they're just taking too long to develop. So I think there is a fundamental issue with how they pick up blitzes. I don't know if it's something that can be fixed on the fly. And if I have any concern with Shane Steichen going forward and the Colts going forward, it is that more so than conservative play calling or not calling enough runs, because I think that is an issue that could actually sink them.
Yeah, what I want most from them moving forward is to recognize what their issues are and to like you're not like you said, you're not going to magically fix them right away. Find ways to work around what you know your issues are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like fire up things that get the ball out quicker. Like you mentioned with the option routes, like the quarterback has to wait on the receiver's decision. And on that play in particular, I thought Jones made probably the right read because he throws it to Downs there. And if Downs goes out, he gets probably at least 8-9 yards on that 3rd and 4. So yeah, I just want them to not be stubborn and recognize kind of where their shortcomings are.
Yeah, I just think it needs to be more decisive in what they're calling. Like, see a
Mm-hmm.
blitz coming, right side is running a slant flat, the left side is running, some kind of zone beater, a quick high-low zone beater or something, and just have them running decisive routes, I think would be better. Or just have scat protection and like, hey, if they bring 8, throw it out to Taylor in the flat real quick. I just want more decisiveness, I think. So the quarterback's not thinking while also getting pressure bearing down on him.
Yeah.
It worked early in the season because Daniel Jones was kind of relentless in how he hung in there and threw the ball to Downs on those option routes. He waited for it to the last second and threw it there. But with him now kind of being a little skittish back there, I don't know if those routes can be an answer to blitz protection because your quarterback needs to be like almost oblivious to the rush for that to work. And he hasn't been that since the fumbles against Pittsburgh. So I just don't know if that's a great response right now to the blitzes that they're facing. But that's all we have for Steichen and Jones on this episode. If you guys want more talk about Shane Steichen, Daniel Jones, go to yesterday's episode that Jake recorded. Go to an episode that Jake recorded for tomorrow of Q&As as well, because almost every question is about those two this week. But coming up, we're going to talk about the Colts defense and what the first impressions were of this new look defense with Sauce Gardner, Mooney Ward, and everybody out there against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs.
The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on all the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel's got live bets on everything from who's going to score next to if there's a fourth quarter comeback on the horizon. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So right now, jot it down. FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, welcome back, everydayers. We are we're adding some nuance to the discussions here of, the last month. It's not been as smooth sailing as it was in the first half of the year. Daniel Jones has kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Shane Steichen's taking a lot of heat, including from me. I'm not going to deflect things here for how we approach things in the second half and the fourth quarter against the Chiefs. But people have also been wondering quite a bit about the defense. I personally think the defense probably caught a little too much flack for how things went down the stretch. Now, it was over 90 snaps, Zach, which is about a game and a half, 2 games. I thought overall the defense did more than enough to win this game. But the Chiefs the Chiefs, I thought had kind of, I don't want to call it brilliant, but I thought the timing of the big plays they made was perfect. I thought the game plan they came into with adjusting to what the Colts defense was going to offer was really smart. Because all week, what did I say? I was like, okay, no Isaiah Pacheco. Even if they had Pacheco, they're not going to be able to just have this heavy run approach and it's going to make it. Well, Kareem Hunt had a career high 30 carries, and he only averaged 3.5 yards per carry, but it was enough. On second and short, third and short, the guy kept converting and moving the chains. 33 first downs was the most first downs any team has had this year. So when you take all that into account, it kind of overshadowed a little bit what I thought was a really, really good debut of the tandem of Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward. So what did you get out of all that?
Yeah, I'm happy I'm not really on social media as much anymore because I have no clue where any opinion would be that the defense struggled in this game. Like, look, I'm not going to sit here and say it was an A+ game. I said as much on the squad show. Like, there's always room to improve. But they went against the number 2 offense in EPA per play, an offense that's even better at home. They're one of the best offenses in football regardless. But at home, they're pushing up there with the Colts offense in almost every metric with how good they have been at home. They're the best short yardage team in football. And they have a first ballot Hall of Famer at quarterback and at head coach and at tight end. You're not going to contain them to 0 yards in a game. Like, sure, you don't want to allow 500 plus yards in a game, but if you're getting 2 takeaways, if you're getting 4 sacks, if you're holding them to 1 of 5 in the red zone, that's enough to win a football game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this was a beautiful chess match between Lou Anarumo and Pat Mahomes / Andy Reid. And I think for the most part, Lou Anarumo won the day. I thought that his defense was much better for a majority of the day, but you can't give greatness constant chances in the fourth quarter. That was the thing. The Chiefs had 4 opportunities in the fourth quarter to come back from 11-point deficit. They had the ball 4 times. They went 3 and out on one of them, and they fumbled in the red zone on the other.
Mm-hmm.
That should be enough to win a football game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, it's no excuse. It's no excuse for the offense. So, yeah, if people want to pin this on the defense, like, yeah, you want to allow fewer points for sure. But I thought the defense played really good football. Like, again, you're not going to keep the Chiefs off the field. They have arguably the most efficient offense in the league because Pat Mahomes is so efficient and effective with his scrambling and with his ability to manipulate defenses to get the checkdowns open and getting guys the ball in space. That they face so many 3rd and shorts that they're just a really good offense. I know that they're not putting up the flashiest numbers this year, but it is a really good offense. So I think the way that Lou Anarumo responded to it, which was a lot of drop 8 coverage, a lot of contained rushes to keep Mahomes in the pocket. And we saw a lot of these like unforced errors from Mahomes with 3-man rushes where he didn't need to climb the pocket, but Lou played him exceptionally well. He had a really good scouting report on him and knew that Mahomes was going to force himself into pressure because he needs to be this playmaker. And I thought they were able to create a lot of pressure and messes for the Chiefs offense as a result. Now, at the end of the day, though, again, if you just keep giving them chances, they're going to convert. Like, it's like Kobe Bryant could shoot like 40% from the field, but if he shoots 80 shots, he's going to still get his 60 points or whatever, like it's kind of what it was, like they just had the ball forever. And even on the drives where the Colts defense would get a 3 and out or get the ball back to their offense, the ball was given right back to them in better field position. So, football is a complementary sport. You need both sides of the ball to be playing well, to be efficient. I thought the Colts defense, while not perfect in this game, like the run defense could have been better. There were a couple of pass plays where like Mooney Ward fell down and so just lost contained on a rush or something like that. But overall, I think when you're going against an offense like that, it's the best possible outcome you could have had. Like, the Colts don't have the Denver Broncos defense. They don't have edge rushers who are going to win in 1 second to absolutely beat down the Chiefs offense. So the next best thing you can do is hold them to field goals in the red zone, take the football away, get timely sacks and timely incompletions. And they did that. So, I think the first impression of this new look defense was very good, even without DeForest Buckner. I came away from that game very, very optimistic about the Colts defense going forward, even if it's a little bit more concerned about the Colts offense.
Yeah, I thought the Chiefs were just, again, really uncharacteristic in this one. They had not been running the ball at all, and that was their main mode of attack against the Colts. To me, it looked like they were trying to avoid Sauce and Ward at all costs. Tony Romo was even begging them to throw the ball along the boundary, which they would not do. It seemed like everything they wound up doing in the passing game, at least their big plays, they funneled it all inside, lots of crossers and in-breaking routes and stuff. And mind you, this is a team with speed. Like Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, those guys are all incredibly fast. They're usually going to be able to beat the man they're being covered by. And when you do that over the middle and you cause a guy to have to turn and burn with that, it's going to create those big plays, the really timely big plays that they had. And I mean, it was really good adjustments from the Chiefs to just they understood what Lou and the personnel was going to be able to do against them. and they just found the right things to dial up to get plays when they absolutely needed it. Like in the end, the Chiefs just made the plays that the Colts were not able to make.
Yeah, and again, we're a couple timely bounces going against the Colts away from talking about what a performance the Colts defense had in the win.
Yeah.
I mean, Noah Gray gets knocked out on a catch, and the ball lands on his chest. He doesn't ever catch the ball, but because it never hits the ground, it's ruled a catch. And that's the difference between a 4th and 2 near the end of regulation and a 4th and 8 that the Chiefs would have had to go for. And, if you 4th and 8, it's a much lower chance of conversion rate there, and the Colts arguably get the win in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? The Colts offense might have still needed to get a first down, so maybe not the win in that case. But yeah, there were a couple things, and there were a couple like long 3rd down conversions where they were inches away from making a play. So I'm really not concerned about the Colts defense. And I think when they go against lesser offenses, and again, maybe this is going to be a crazy thing to say right now before the game, but like the Texans offense, Jaguars offenses, good offenses, but they're not the Chiefs level of efficient and effective. I think we're going to see a even more stifling performance from them. And I think another big takeaway is just how good they're going to be in the red zone the rest of the way with those big, long corners, athletic corners. I think they're going to be able to get all over receivers in the red zone and hold teams to field goals. So, look, if my defense is holding the Kansas City Chiefs to 23 points through 5 quarters, I'm not blaming them, especially when they spotted 7 points for the offense. They gave them 7 points to start the game with the interception.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming this defense whatsoever. I think it was a very, very positive showing from the defense. It's just the Colts offense didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah. My lasting impression from this game is like the football is just seriously like a game of inches and like just such minute differences. Like you look at the opening drive, there's the 3 offensive line penalties. Jones has that awesome throw up the seam to Michael Pittman Jr. on 3rd down that gets called back because of the Braden Smith illegal formation penalty, which was a little ticky-tack, whatever. I mentioned the 2 miscues in the 3rd quarter. Like they were so close to having just utter control of this game. And they did for most of the game. And it honestly made me re-mad about how the national media painted this game afterwards. Because I'm like, oh my God, like the Chiefs should not have been in this at all. But
yeah,
I digress. We're moving past this game after this.
I will say this as a final note on this game and heading into the next game. Every loss the Colts have had so far, I can live with. Road losses to desperate teams that have been in the playoffs or the best team in football in the Rams. It starts now, though, this week in terms of like any kind of excuse or wishy-washing away losses. Because if they lose to the Texans this weekend, there is going to be no pushing that aside and moving on to the next. Like
CJ Stroud was a full participant today, so it's probably Stroud.
The Colts are lucky they're getting the 3-5 quarterback instead of the 3-0 quarterback, but still, it's a very new challenge here. But the Colts at home got to take care of business, get back on track. There's no more excuses the rest of the way. Take care of your divisional games, take care of your home games, and get in the playoffs. Like we said at this past game against the Chiefs, but even more so this week because now the Colts have some desperation. It's a playoff game this weekend. Don't lose. Don't lose this weekend. But that's all we have for today. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow for the Locked On Colts and Texans crossover for Thanksgiving Thursday there. You guys can listen to the crossover. Thank you guys for making Locked On Colts your first listen today and every day. The NFL season's in full swing. So for your next listen, get a double dose of the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler the Madman Rowland gets you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you into the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube where you listen to your podcast. If you guys want to become a Locked On Colts insider and chat with us directly and get that insider scoop, follow the link in our show notes. And if you don't already, make sure you're following at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur and Fallon, at Zach Hicks 2, all on socials. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube where we listen to your podcast. We love your guys' ratings and reviews, and we'll catch you guys back here for the squad show tonight.